Good day to everyone. So today we will discuss the course requirements, the midterm requirements, and the final requirements of our course, which is quantitative methods. So first, what we're going to discuss is about the midterm exam, and then we'll proceed with the final project. Included in the final project is part of the midterm requirements. So if you want to be refreshed on the course outline, you can just always check the LMS, our LMS page. So you can check it out there, the different lessons and modules and the course outcomes needed. Now, so I have already given you this schedule of our meetup, of our virtual meeting for October 22 and 23. So this is the schedule per section. So please take note. Also, I mentioned in our Facebook group that this meeting is our first virtual meeting and the only virtual meeting in midterms. So I'm really hoping that all of you can attend, and this will also serve as your attendance for this week. Now we'll proceed with the discussion of the midterm exam. So the midterm exam is originally scheduled on October 26 to 30, but I decided that I'll be doing it on November 1 to 7. So topics are the lessons in Module 1 and Module 2. Okay? So those are the topics. Okay? Dapat kasi Module 1, Module 2, and Module 3. Okay? I'm still doing the Module 3. Don't worry, I might be able to finish it this week. Okay, so there will be two parts. So in part 1, it's a multiple choice, and it's the questions is good for 60 minutes. And then part 2 is calculation. It will be an open siya. What do you call this? Open time, kumbaga. Okay? So, sa part 1, we'll just focus on Module 1 and Module 2 and some gamay lang kayo ng mga topics in Module 3. Okay? And then in part 2, okay, I hope you are listening in this recording because part 2 will only focus on the correlation analysis. Okay? Take note on that. We'll only focus on part 2, the calculation, the handwritten, and in Excel calculation. We'll only focus in correlation analysis. Okay? So I placed there time-bounded because you can only take the exams from November 1 to 7. So take note, yung part 1, it is time-bounded, 60 minutes. Dapat isa kalingkuran lang ninyo na siya buhaton. And I'm also recommending that you have, meron kayong malakas na, not malakas, stable connection para hindi kayo ma-disconnect. Kasi most of you ma-disconnect and then di na kayo makabalik ng take ng exam or ng quiz type sa LMS. So these two parts will be in LMS, of course, and then you can only take again from November 1 to November 7. Okay, so please be reminded on that. So then part 2, wala siyang time. Wala siyang restriction on time, but there is restriction on the submission. So you can only submit until November 7. Okay? So we'll proceed now in final project. By the way, if you do have questions on the midterm exam, you will write down the questions and you can ask me or inquire me during the time of our virtual meeting this week. Okay, for the final project, okay, final project, no? Okay. So, this is basically your final, one of the final requirements, one of the course requirements. Dalawa yung course requirements dito. Sa quantitative methods. Number one is to solve statistical problems using tools and techniques such as t-test, ANOVA, descriptive statistics, correlation, regression. So that is one of our course requirements. And basically, we are doing it right now. As we speak, di ba, sa Module 1, we are doing computation in descriptive statistics, in sampling, and then Module 2 in hypothesis testing in t-test, and ANOVA, and then in Module 3, correlation. So, we are actually doing it as we go on with our modules, ang course outcome 1. Yung course outcome 2 is ito na yung final project, which is to produce a full paper, a full research paper. So we'll now discuss the final project. The final project is basically the culmination of the entire learnings you had in the quantitative methods. And as I said, this is the course outcome 2, which is to write a full research paper on ICT variables implementing correlational design. So take note, we will only implement correlation design of research. If you cannot understand correlation design, please go back on Module 1 discussion. May discussion doon about the different types, the different research designs. Okay? So, ICT variables, at least one variable, kasi di ba, in correlation, the correlation of two variables. So, it is basically a test of relationship between two variables. At least one of the variables is ICT related. Example, let's say for example, kanang gaming or programming skills, etc. So, those are examples of ICT variables. Don't worry, we still have a different discussion on this in our Module 5. So, the final project is a full paper. Gikan sa title, abstract, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and references, acknowledgement, etc. So, we still do have a discussion on writing the research from chapter 1 to chapter 4, including references and writing abstract. Okay, but if you do have previous knowledge about this, then you can start doing it right now. So aside being the major assessment in Module 5, so di ba may Module 5 tayo, which is writing a research paper, this will also serve as your final exam. Okay? So this is a group project. Group members, or the group must consist 5 to 6 members. Okay? So you need to identify 2 main authors and then 3 to 4 contributors. So yung role ng main author, siya yung leaders ng group. And then of course, yung 3 to 4 contributors, it doesn't mean na contributor kayo, you do not have any tasks. So the leaders or the main authors will give you tasks on writing the research paper. Depende na yan siya on how you manage the project. Okay? So, basta, the responsibility and the accountability of the project goes to the 2 main authors and the valor bang tawag dyan? If this will be published, the 2 main authors will be included in the main list of authors, and then the contributors dun sa acknowledgement. Okay? So again, as I mentioned in the course outcome 2, the research design must employ correlational design or correlation. It must be a correlational research wherein it defines correlation as a test of relationship between two variables. Kung correlated ba siya, positive correlation, negative correlation, or there is no correlation at all. So you could also proceed it with regression analysis using linear regression. So kung na naman yung relationship daan, kung tayo positive, strong positive relationship ang duha ka variable, example, ang academic performance with programming skills of students. Example, na inyong relationship. Let's say your research question is there a relationship, a significant relationship between the academic performance and the programming skills of students in Institute of Information Technology? If you do have, if the relationship is a strong positive relationships, then you can proceed it with regression analysis. So sa regression analysis, although we'll have a different discussion for this, sa regression analysis, it will basically answer questions if the variable 1 influence the result of variable 2. Example, is the academic performance of the students strongly influence or impact the programming skills of the student. So you already have identified na merong strong positive relationship ang academic performance and programming skills. You can further analyze if the academic performance of the student positively influence the programming skills of the student itself. So you can do that using regression analysis. However, in this project, ang pinaka-minimum requirement niya is to produce a correlational research conducting correlational analysis. So, to add on that, you need to provide me at least 2 titles for your final project. So, i-submit nyo sa akin on November 7, or gawin na lang natin November 8 kasi exam pa yan siya, to submit through Google Form. So, I'll just provide the Google Form in the Facebook group and in the LMS. Okay? So, that is a midterm requirement, guys. So, I cannot tell you to proceed on the research without me checking your titles. And then once you have I will approve you on the titles when I say you can proceed on selecting your advisor and you can start doing your research. Then, then you can proceed writing your research paper. So don't worry. You can always chat me. Let's say I do have some, some questions or clarifications on the titles you have submitted. Okay? So I'll just provide you the Google Form link after this series of virtual meetings I will have. And then next, so this is the process, no? So as I mentioned, yung midterm requirement is the title selection. So it must be approved by me as your instructor of the quantitative methods. And then once approved, you will select your advisor. So right now, I'm still looking for potential advisors for research. Once makaselect na ako, you have the freedom to select who will be your advisors. Okay? Before kayo makaselect ng advisor, dapat approve muna yung title nyo by me. Okay? So, of course, one of the advisors will be me. Okay? However, hindi man pwede nga ako lang tanan. So, I'm a limited human being. I'm not a robot. So, siguro I can only select 3 to 4 papers. And then, I'll tap instructors from the IT, from the IIT, from Imagox, from IED, or from the admin, kung sino yung pwede maging advisor. Okay? And then you will, once meron kayong advisor, meron na kayong title, you can proceed with the research. Okay, eventually. So I'll give you the research format on LMS, and then I also prepared research guideline. Okay, it's very specific yung guideline doon how you write the papers itself. So, number 4, you will always do consultation with your advisor online. So, I'm still contemplating kung gagawan ako. I will be creating an advisor form or screenshot na lang ng email or ng conversation yun ng advisor nyo. This is just as an evidence na you always consult with your advisor. Number 5, statistician consultation. So, dapat merong certificate of recommendation from the statistician. So, all of you will be assigned or kayo yung maghahanap ng you'll also select a statistician. Okay, so number 4 and number 5, advisor and statistician do have a payment, pero minimum lang ng payment. Okay, so I will just post it late. I will discuss it later about payment. Then, grammarian consultation, of course, your paper must be undergone a grammarian checking. So, you need to submit a certificate or recommendation from the grammarian also. Grammarian, nine mga grammarian that requires payment. So, napoy wala. So, I'll just give you the freedom kung kinsa inyong gusto mag-grammarian. Basta ang importante na qualification sa grammarian is a English practitioner, an English teacher, licensed or not licensed, basta nagatudlo siya. When we say English practitioner, iyahang qualification is naga-practice siya og English. Depende na siya unsa na mga disciplines or unsa na mga areas of English. Basta English siya. And then English teacher or licensed ba or not licensed, pwede pod ka ng mga dili pa siya teacher pero English graduate siya of any English related program. And then, pwede pod ka ng ongoing na naga-OJT or nakahuman nag-OJT rather, maski wala pa siya nakagraduate. Okay, those are the requirements of the grammarian. Again, sa grammarian, kamo na bahala mangita and then kamo na decide kung unsay mong, depende na sa grammarian kung pila ilang pabayad. Basta sa advisor and statistician is there are only there are only pre-selected na yung sino yung pwede maging advisor and sino yung pwede maging statistician. Okay? So, you will just select who will be the advisor and statistician. And then, sa final check, after the grammarian consultation, you will do final checking with your advisor and your instructor. So after you finish the final checking, you will conduct a public forum through online. So the public forum is just a presentation of the results of your study. And then number 9 is a poster presentation. So you will be creating a poster of your results. So meron, if you can check on my YouTube channel, may mga poster presentation doon. So, you can browse my YouTube channel and then browse the different poster presentation. So, itong dalawa is a requirement, the public forum and then the poster presentation. If we can, the public forum, we need to depende na sa inyo on how you will conduct this public forum. Sige lang, I will just give instructions on this. And then, sa poster presentation, I will also give instructions. You cannot conduct public forum and poster presentation without the recommendation from the advisor and from the instructor. You cannot conduct final checking without the recommendation from the statistician and the grammarian and of course the advisor. Okay? And then once you have done the public forum and poster presentation, you will now submit the final paper. So if you do have questions on this, just write down your questions now, and then ipangutana siya during our klase or the virtual meeting this week. So there will be a format. Kung should siya kanang naka-format na dani, butang na lang inyong mga text, inyong mga tables and images, figures, etc. And then guideline, again, there will be a guideline to be given, a specific guideline na nadidto tanan ang unsa inyong kailangan isulat and unsay mga examples sa pagsulat. Okay, it will be uploaded siguro after posting this video or after our meeting. I'll just finalize it. Check lang na ako kung na kayo mga updated or unsa. And then the output of this project, as I mentioned earlier, there will be true output. This will be the output of the final period. Okay? Of the module 5 rather. So, sa module 5, wala na ko ipanghatag na application and assessment. Diretso na kaning final project. Nagyan po yung activity and analysis, pero there will be no application on each lessons. And then the assessment is basically mo na ni siyang final project. And this will also serve as your final exam. So the output is the full research paper, gikan title, abstract, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then references, acknowledgement, etc. Based on the format. And then poster presentation through online. You can check out my YouTube channel. Mayroon dong poster presentation. So, yun sa nila pagbuhat ang poster, etc. You can also get ideas from there. And then public forum presentation through online also. I will be inviting some people to witness the public forum. So, ang public forum, mura siya i-present ninyo yung results. So, don't worry, naman may advisor na upload ko to guide you before conducting the public forum. Okay, take note if I'll be strict on these three output because we already have identified this during our core orientation. And then if you cannot provide this on time, di man ko mabagsak, but you will be given a grade with incomplete. Okay? INC. Okay? For now, wala pa man wala pa any memo about no grade. So, mabalik ta dito sa INC na grade. So, I believe the final exam is the 3rd week of January. So, I'm hoping na before the final exam, makakonduct na mo poster presentation, public forum, and full research paper. Okay, masubmit na ninyo siya. Okay? So mo to siya. You can also do the poster presentation or public forum before the final exam or earlier. Pwede po na siya. Depende na sa inyong pacing on what you want to do. Basta, dili lang mo lampas sa last week of January. Okay? Mulampas na. So, I'll give you a grade of INC. Now, option lang ni siya. So, I will be if the papers will be published in a peer-reviewed journal, okay, you will get a grade of 100 grade in the entire final period. Diretso na siya, ratsada, 100. Okay, sa final period, like man to midterm. So, sa midterm, let's say, naka 85 ka, or naka 95 ka, depende na sa mo. Basta pag naka-publish siya in 100 grade period. But for this, kailangan na ako, of course, di man nakakaya tanan no na ano siya. 50% of the publication fee will be shouldered by the authors. Okay? So, di man good free ang mga journals. So, 50% of the publication fee will be shouldered by the authors. Okay, let's say for example, ang pinakabarato na ako nakita is $25. So, $25 times times 50. So, 1,250. Divide na siya 2. Inyong bayaran is 625. Then, ako na magbayad sa another 50%. Okay? So, option lang nga siya ha. Dili man pasabot na requirement na siya. Kung gusto lang dyan ninyo ma-publish inyong papers because lain man po nga inyong lang siyang na-present, inyong lang siyang na lang siya sa library or na lang siya diri sa ako ang laptop. Okay? Pero, of course, I'm giving out a 50% discount. 50% kamo magbayad and then 50% ako magbayad. So as I mentioned, ang pinakabarato na ako nakita is $25 or $30 na ako nakita na $30. Pangingita lang ko. Okay? So for now, lang option lang nga siya. Okay? Kung di niyo makaya, no worries. No worries. Hindi na siya requirement. Okay? So, muna siyang payment sa advisor is 300 per group na ha. Per group. And then statistician, 300 per group. So, 600 tanan. Per group na siya ha. Buta na itong uno mo kabuo. 600. Divide 6. So, 100 each. For the entire, basig mangayo mo mangayo mo sa inyong parent nga, alam man, ay bayaran nun, 600 per person. Bantay lang jud mo. Per group na siya. And then, sa grammarian is depends on the rate. Katong ganina sa sa publication, if you really want to publish your paper, so, buta na itong makakita tag $30. Then, 1.5 divide 2. So, 750 per group. Okay? So, kung 6 mo kabuo, 125 each mo. Okay? So, however, I'm still contemplating, basi day makakita tag-sponsor, basi na mo yung sponsor na makita on kinsay pwede makapublish na or kinsay na may sponsor, mangita pong sponsor no sa ako ang site basi di ay may mga sponsor sa pag-publish. But for now, kanilang sa inyong i-focus kaning full research paper, poster, and public forum presentation. Okay? So for the payment is, again, I've mentioned na per group na siya, dili na siya per individual, per group. Okay, so paano siya mga previous research papers no na na-publish sa mga last SEM na quantitative methods. So na-publish ni siya sa International Journal of Research and Innovation in Social Science na journal. Okay, kani siya na title is The Relationship of Technology as a Learning Tool to Student Motivation in Education Among College Students in Davao del Norte State College. Okay, so these are the authors. Advisor nila si Ma'am Don. These are BSIS students. So, as you notice, relationship, this is a correlation analysis na research, correlational research. So, ang two variables niya kaning this is one variable, technology as a learning tool, and then student motivation is the second variable. Next is the effectiveness of social media pages of tourist spots in Davao de Oro towards customer satisfaction. Okay, so by Princess Pataganam, Padillos Cuyos, and their advisor is Ma'am Borleo, Ma'am Baba. So when there is a word na effectiveness, it means that after nila mag-correlate ng two variables, they have proceeded to regression analysis on testing the influence of the variable 1 towards variable 2. Okay, so ang variable dire is the social media pages of tourist spots. And then the variable 2 is the customer and satisfaction. Okay? So since effectiveness siya, that means nag-conduct siya ng regression analysis. Pag may regression analysis, there will be an independent variable which is we have discussed in our chapter, in our module 1. So the independent variable here is the social media pages of tourist spots. And then the dependent variable is the customer satisfaction. So pag effectiveness, again, pag nag-conduct of regression analysis, na siya ay independent and dependent variable. Pero pag ingani siya, correlation lang, wala siya dependent or independent variable. Pag correlation lang, you're just testing the strength of the relationship between the two variables. So this will be variable 1, and then this will be variable 2. The next, exploring the relationship between the effect of technology and employee performance, the case of Marinol College of Panabo. So these are the authors, Gaho, Shakor, Latoreno, Borleo is their advisor, and me. So, kasi the term relationship, so that means they only conducted the correlation analysis, or it's a correlation research. So what do you think are the two variables here? Sige daw, kamo daw. Unsa ang variables? So the two variables are the effect of technology and then the employee performance. Okay? Next is a correlational study on nomophobia and physical health Panaboans across age groups. So wala siya effectiveness, no? That means they conducted only correlational analysis. So, di ba, sa term pa lang na correlational. So, unsa man ang two variables here na ilahang gusto i-test ang strength of the relationship. Okay, so the two variables is the nomophobia and physical health of Panabuans. Then, here is effectiveness of usability towards the accessibility of government websites in the Davao region based on citizens' perceptions. So by Buga, Shirondes, and Golanes. And then ako ilang advisor. So di ba na ay term na effectiveness? Pag nagi effectiveness, impact, or influence, that means inyuhang objective is to test the impact, the influence, or the effectiveness of the independent variable and the dependent variable. So in this title, what is the independent variable and the dependent variable? Okay, so the independent variable is usability, and the dependent variable is the accessibility. So the usability of the government websites is the independent variable, and the dependent variable is the accessibility of government websites. So basically, these two are the different features of user experience and websites. So ang ilang gi-conduct is to test kung nabay effect ang the usability of certain government websites towards how it is accessible to people. Okay, which is accessibility. Next is a special issue for COVID-19. This is correlational inquiry between COVID-19 patients ni siya ha. But I really don't know what happened upon publication. Basta patients na siya, age and recovery rate. So sa word pa lang na correlational, so they conducted a correlational research na nagatest if there is what is the strength of the relationship or nabay relationship between the age and the recovery rate. Okay, this is from Espinosa, Tangkiamco, and Paray, and I'm their supervising faculty. Okay, so all of this research will be available. If you can check out my ResearchGate, I'll just post the links siguro on the LMS. So you can check out ResearchGate, my Google Scholar, ayan. So let's proceed with the research format. So the research format is the guidelines first. So I'll just check it one more time siguro, and then I'll upload it sa LMS. So this is the research guide. So first is the content of the research, of course, the abstract, the introduction. So inside the introduction is the background of the study, the theoretical framework, conceptual framework, the research questions, and null hypothesis. Don't worry, we'll be having a separate discussion on this, and then napod ni siya sa research guide on this file. And then chapter 2 is methodology. So this is what is included in methodology, research design, local, kung asa dapit na conduct na city or barangay, etc. And then participants, kinsa inyong respondents of the study, and then what kind of sampling techniques that you have utilized, and then unsang gigamit nga statistical tool. So of course naman yun ay descriptive statistics katong mean, and then napod ang t-test or ANOVA. It depends on the variable kung pila ka book values of the variable. And then, of course, the person R, which is for correlation. And then you will write the step-by-step procedure on collecting the data. And then you will also write here, sorry, ito lagi nun, na-adjust din katong research instrument. You will describe the research instrument of your paper. So, sige lang, we'll have as I said, we'll have a different discussion on chapter 2 and chapter 1, and also chapter 2 and 4. And then, the research instrument, there will be options on this, so I'll just give discussion kung maabot na ta dira. And then, ethical considerations, of course, dapat na ethical considerations, unsay mga ways for you to conduct research ethically. And then i-mention po dira na namoy informed consent form. Kaning informed consent form, this is just a form wherein you are murag mananghid gali mo sa ilahan na mga mo og responses as purely for academic and research purposes. And then chapter 3 and 4 is your conclusion and recommendation. Akong results and discussions ang chapter 3. So sa results and discussions, na dira tong table, na dira tong graphs, etc. Okay, conclusions and recommendations. Okay, and then the format is here. Okay, man siyang format, basahan na lang ninyo ang format sa title. And then the rest is unsaon pagsulat sa title, unsaon pagpili sa title, unsaon pagsulat sa introduction, ayan, background of the study. By the way, kung nangita mo sa review of related literature, ang review of related literature, naka-anchor na siya diri sa 1.1 and 1.2. Okay, sa background of the study and theoretical framework. So, dira na siya nabutang. Okay, nanadira tanan o mga example, no? Grabe ka, swerte. Mga sample ng mga transition words that you can select, theoretical framework na naka, ano na daan, naka-template na daan. Ayan, and then conceptual framework, yan. And then also, nani siya graph ang conceptual framework, na siya figure. So, sige lang, I'll just discuss how to write a conceptual framework sa Module 5. And then research questions, napod tayo discussion ani sa research questions. And then methodology, chapter 2. Okay, so for references, we'll be using IEEE citation format. So, mani siya mga sites that you can follow in order to select the citations format. Okay, or unsaon pagsulat sa IEEE or IEEE na lang. Okay. So, before the I sa references, dapat na ay acknowledgement. Ayun po kayo yung taas ang acknowledgement ha. 1 to 2 paragraphs lang dapat na siya. Okay. So, I'll upload this in our LMS kaning research guide nato. Okay, so going back on our presentation, I'll also provide you the research format. Okay, so no naka format na siya daan na din title, author, so person, student, and then faculty. So the two last authors kay kung tahay dili ako yung advisor, so ibutang yung advisor and ako. Okay. So, naka-format na daan, no? Abstract, keywords, di rin yung sulat ang background of the study, di rin yung sulat ang theoretical framework, conceptual framework, research questions, naka-format na daan, naka-lorem ipsum lang siya, pero at least naka-format siya, di ba? Null hypothesis. Okay, unsa ba itong kulang? Murag na kulang din. Tama, null hypothesis there last. Then chapter 2, methodology, research design, then research local, participants of the study, sampling technique, and then statistical treatments. Butangan ninyo mga formula dira kay statistical treatment man na siya. Data collection procedure, pwede paragraph, pwede numbering, and then ang 2.7 di ay 2.7 is the research instruments. So the research instrument is basically this section kay inyo siyang i-define ang research instrument. Inyo siyang ihatagan o description. You will describe. When I say research instrument, mao na siya ang when I say research instrument, mao na siya inyong questionnaire. Okay, the research questionnaire. And then, before manggod siya mahatag ang research questionnaire sa mga respondents, dapat approved pa siya by the advisor. And then, sa mga previous na quantitative methods, among gibuhat, kay wala na sila nagbuhat og research questionnaire. Ilahang gibuhat kay nag-adapt na lang sila sa mga existing and published na mga questionnaire gikan sa mga published na mga research articles. Sige lang naman ko example ana when we discuss that. Kay kung maghinog pa manggod tag research questionnaire, daghan pa siya agian na mga process. So ipa-validate pa sa advisor, ipa-validate pa sa validator. Unlike kung adapt na lang ka atong existing na research questionnaire that you can get from mga published na mga articles, then wala na kayo kayong hunaon-naon. Pwede rin mo i-change gamay ang wordings. Okay, so but however, you need to cite it. Kailangan naka-cite jud siya. Okay? Cited dapat ang research instrument kung asa gikan, kinsa nagsulat, asa siya na article. And then ethical consideration, so 2.8 na lang siya. Okay. And then results in discussion, as I mentioned, diri mabutang ang mga tables, mga graphs, figures, and then conclusion, chapter 4, conclusions and recommendations, and then references. Ang ano ko. Siya dira kay diri ang acknowledgement kay diri mo. Sample. And then ano siya sa inyong pasalamatan. Charot. Basta agamay lang akong butang diri. Then references. Again, the references must be IEEE format. Na siya diri. Ako gihatag na mga links diri. Ayan. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, so mao to ang format. So hatagan ta mo copy ana, ibutang na ko ni siya, i-upload na ko ni siya sa LMS. So we still have a separate discussion on each section sa dire. Natay separate discussion ana on each sections. Okay? So you do not have to worry kaayo. Pero if you do have a previous knowledge about this, sa pagbuhat og full research paper, then you can start doing it. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, the end. So, just a reminder, the midterm requirement dapat kasabit mo 2 titles, that is a correlational research na title, and then at least 1 variable is an ICT related variable. Okay, and then you need to submit it before the on or before the deadline, which is November 8. Okay, so just reminders lang. And then I'll be uploading the format and the guideline, and then take note of the payments. Okay, so again, the payment is by group, by group, dili by individual, by group. Okay. Sige, so that ends our presentation of the final project. So, islat daan ninyo mga questions dira, and then you ask it during our virtual meeting. Okay? Thank you for